Hello, hello. Welcome to this video on the full moon in Aries. It is Saturday night. I am so grateful that you're joining me with this video. Let's slow it down. Let's investigate. Let's take a look at what is going on around this full moon. I'm so excited to share with you my observations because it looks like no other astrologer is seeing what I'm seeing, is observing what I'm observing. Unless I am missing someone, there's only one other astrologer, Rick Levine, who I have heard talking about this. So I'm in good company. And coincidentally, me and Rick both have Venus at the same degree. I'll go into that later. Also, I want to let you guys know that I am launching an astrology course. It's called Astrology Essentials. I want to give you the essentials of astrology. I can tell you that it's super competitively priced. The link is going to be below for you to register your details. I'm still in the creation process. It is coming. I am so excited to share it with you. I have never put together a course before. I have been so busy over the past few years, but I have finally got a little bit of space. People have been asking me for a very long time to create this course, so it's happening, it's coming for you, and I'm thrilled. Let's put it that way. So let's get into the Aries full moon chart first of all. I'm getting really good at sharing my screen, so I am going to go ahead and show off my skills that I have in pulling up the screen with my face over the top of it. That should work. Yes, we have the full moon in Aries. Let me just make sure that I'm coming to you properly. There we are. Ta-da! It's the Aries full moon in Tokyo. It will be timed for the 7th of October, but it will also be for some of you on the 6th of October. But Tuesday is where it's happening on my side of the world. So let's get into it. We've got the sun in Libra and the moon in Aries, which is, of course, what makes a full moon. These luminaries, the lights in our sky in opposition. Sun over here at 14 degrees 8 minutes, moon over here at 14 degrees 8 minutes. They are in perfect opposition to each other in our skies. And these are both cardinal signs, so we're dealing with energy that is pretty proactive, pretty driven. But the sun, as I say, the sun in Libra is in its sign of fall, so it's not particularly strong. The sun is not blazing bright for me. It's very foggy where I am. And the moon has got a bit of punch to it. So we've got this interesting dynamic of sun and moon in these two signs. We've also got the ruler of this full moon, Mars in Scorpio, joined by Mercury. And so all we have to do is conjure to mind a couple of ideas about the Scorpio zodiac sign. It's probing, it's deep, it is going beneath the surface, it is secretive. We might be wanting to talk about things that have been either buried and long hidden, or just that we're trying to investigate a little bit more. There could be quite a brutal tone. Scorpio can be quite cutting. Mars here is quite aggressive, but this is in the emotional terrain. So let's just consider that happening. And what we're going to do for each sign of the horoscope is go through what the Aries house of the horoscope represents, and also what the Scorpio sign of the house, what the Scorpio area of your horoscope means too. So we've got these two areas revealing something at full moon, but that is not all, guys. That's not even the half of it. What we're actually really excited about is Eris, a dwarf planet, and Chiron, an asteroid. Chiron and Eris are both retrograde. They're both retrograde. They happen to be retrograde at the moment. They made a conjunction. They met each other. They met up on the 27th of May 2025. So earlier this year, these two planets met up for the first time in a very, very, very long time. Today, 9th of October, they're making their conjunction retrograde. And then next year in 2026, they will again meet each other, but this time in direct motion moving forward. But we've got these three conjunction points. How fascinating that they are meeting on the 9th of October, just hours after the full moon in Aries. So it makes you wonder what was happening when they met before earlier in May. We'll get to that. We're also going to pull up the chart for the corresponding new moon in Aries that happened to be an eclipse 18 months ago. So I'm an astrologer that follows the gestational moon cycle, the gestational lunar cycle, which means that I don't say on a full moon, look to the new moon 2 weeks ago or even 6 months ago. No, I am one of those astrologers that finds the corresponding degree very close to the full moon, which has a lot stronger resonance with the moon. So I don't know if other astrologers just don't know about this technique, or if they know about it and for some reason they choose to align their full moon moment and their new moon moment in a way that's different. I don't know what they're doing, but I know what I was taught. I know what I believe works. I know what makes sense, quite frankly. So let's pull up these three charts. Let's put the Aries new moon at the very center of the pile. So we've got the Aries new moon in the very, very center, the inner ring. We've got the Chiron Eris conjunction, which was on 27th of May 2025. And then we've got this full moon. But first, let's strip it back. Let's look at the Aries new moon that corresponds to this one. This one was at 19 degrees Aries. So you remember that the current one is at 14 degrees, 8 minutes. This one was at 19 degrees, 8 minutes. Close, fairly close. And if you do choose to look at full moons, just that 6 month cycle, so new moon in March, full moon in April, May, June, July, September, like then, they're not going to operate like this, basically. You could have a very big seesaw effect between the degrees of the planets. Okay, so this new moon was 19 degrees 24 minutes and it was conjunct Chiron, asteroid Chiron, to the minute, not just to the degree, but to the minute. 19 degrees 24 minutes. That's amazing, isn't it? That's amazing. We're seeing this spotlight on Chiron. We're seeing this major, major astrological flag, a red flag saying, hello, Chiron themes. And we also had on this new moon moment, which was an eclipse, Mercury retrograde, conjunct Eris. Mercury is the communication planet. It's what we're speaking about. It's the topics on our mind, on our lips. It's the exchanges that we're making back and forth. And so at this time, Eris themed topics were on our mind. Eris themed topics were on our lips. What were you doing on the 9th of April 2024? Go back in your diary, see what's what. At this time, Mars was approaching a conjunction to Saturn in Pisces. So that's a really strong signature. And of course, Mars is the ruler of Aries. And so all of these planets in Aries are responding to Mars, steamy little Mars in Pisces, with Saturn saying, pump, pump, pump the brakes. And then we had Neptune there too. Neptune's now at 0 degrees Aries. So very much within orb of where it was then. We're dealing with this area of the skies. Pluto was at 1 degrees of Aquarius, just as it is now. I mean, guys, like this got me really excited. I hope it's making sense to you too. So we had the Aries new moon. We then had the conjunction of Chiron and Eris on, wait for it, drum roll. I'm not going to bang my computer. The Gemini new moon, 27th of May, 2025. And at that point, Mercury was at 2 degrees, so very much continuing this conversation with Pluto. Saturn was at 0 degrees Aries. Neptune was at 1 degrees. Venus was on the same point. So again, why am I going on about this? Look back in your diary at what you were doing on April 9th, 2024. Look back at what you were doing 27th of May, 2025 on the new moon. It was speaking to people, and then see what's coming to fruition now as we have these resonant degrees, these resonant points. And here, let's take a moment to really think about what I'm just going to pause my screen there. Let's take a moment to think about and to explore and like play out what is Chiron? What is Eris? You know that I'm talking about this random asteroid, this random dwarf planet, but I also know that you're sat there thinking, Kimberly, I don't know what the hell Eris is. I don't know what the hell Chiron means to me. I've forgotten. You might know what the full moon means, revelations, revealing information, full light, full emotional semblance, full emotional awareness, brain waves, like, oh yeah, I get it. Oh yeah, I remember. Oh, okay. So we're there. We're awake with the full moon. The animals are all stirring under the moonlight. Eris. So let's just say Chiron first, actually. So Chiron is a centaur. So he's half man, half beast. And when his mother gave birth to him, she rejected him, right? So he was the son of Saturn and he was rejected by his mum. She was literally not happy. So he was abandoned. Then he went through life, and because he was one of the gods, he couldn't die, but he was accidentally wounded with a poisoned arrow. And so basically, he was in agony and pain, but he was very clever. He was a master of healing and all these different wonderful skills that he had. And basically, the end of the story is that by helping others, he was able to heal himself and release himself from the bondage of his circumstances, which meant he actually changed places with Prometheus and was able to die because he was really in agony. So he never escaped his pain, but through helping another person, through helping another god or whatever the hell Prometheus is, I think he must be a god, a demigod, I don't know. But anyway, he obviously helped. They helped each other out, and through that process, despite his pain, he was able to find relief. And that is such a hallmark, a cornerstone of how we understand Chiron. As with all the planets, as with all the asteroids, Chiron appears somewhere for all of us. We all have Chiron. We all experience pain to varying or lesser degrees. Perhaps you have Chiron conjunct your sun, perhaps you have Chiron rising. It depends. It will appear in your chart looking like that key. I forgot I've changed the screen, but it looks like that little green key, depending on what astrology software you are pulling up. So that's Chiron, woundedness, feeling abandoned, feeling rejected. It is painful, uncomfortable. It's also the reciprocity involved in healing ourselves through healing another. And in Aries, we have to do that honestly. We have to be honest about what we're going through, our pain. We have to be honest and courageous in sharing with another to get to that point of exchange. So honesty, courage, um, bravery, and the ability to kind of like be forthright with ourselves and with others, because Aries is that cardinal sign ruled by Mars, which just needs to get on with it, right? Mars, Aries just needs to get on with it. And so the moon in that sign, it's like, I just got to put my big girl pants on, my Wonder Woman pants on, hike them up, get yourself strapped in, and just move through, be courageous, share, open up, honesty, right? Okay, we're on that page. Then Chiron's energies of healing blended with Eris. Who's Eris? Well, I'll tell you, Eris is a real firecracker of a dwarf planet. Now let me go ahead and share my screen again, but this time I'm going to share a different screen. I'm going to share the web pages that I've pulled up, and I've just highlighted here. In Greek mythology, Eris is the goddess and personification of strife and discord. Sounds dodgy, sounds dreadful. Strife and discord, particularly in war. She's the sister of Ares or Mars, and she was the daughter, she's the primordial daughter of the night, and so on and so forth. She was the one that initiated the quarrel between Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite, which led to the judgment of Paris, throwing an apple into the center of these goddesses, and they all had an argument. So she is a shit stirrer, right? She is a fan of war and battle. She's just really creating discord. And so, with this asteroid of pain and healing meeting up with this planet, what has this year been about? Because we're not just talking about isolation, about the full moon in Aries. We're not just talking about in isolation the 27th of May in 2025, or indeed the previous eclipse back in 2024. Now we can look at this personally, what we're feeling, what's going on with us, how we're doing in life. We can look at it collectively and see these massive signatures around battles, war. And I've been saying this for a long time. Of course, many astrologers have, about how these days, these times that we're living in are just very Aries coded. Aries being this zodiac sign governed by Mars. Okay. So let's see some examples of the people, and excuse the Japanese there, the people that were born with their sun now experiencing this Eris conjunction. So immediately I went to the first one on the list, which is Emma Watson. So we just look at Emma Watson's birth chart, and you can see there her sun is at 25 degrees, 25 minutes of Aries. So although the full moon is coming to fruition in her relationship house around about here, Eris and Chiron are exactly conjunct in her house of partnerships. And if we look on the news, we see that J.K. Rowling slams ignorant Emma Watson as their rift intensifies. Author claims Watson once wrote a note expressing sympathy over anti-trans backlash. So we've got Aries, Emma Watson there, and the full moon in her house of relationships. We know that she's a Virgo rising. That sun is exactly quincunx to her ascendant at 26 degrees. And then she also has another quincunx with Mars at 26 degrees of Aquarius. So the issue of trans, which is an Aquarius coded theme, and the sun in Aries, and just this being a very loaded topic. So we don't have to look too far to see evidence. And she's also got her moon trine her sun there in Sagittarius at 25 degrees. So you can have a little look at Emma Watson's birth chart, have a bit of a reflection on that and what's going on for her. But essentially, you know, slams, rift, argument, battle between power player JK and Emma. Horrible, really, isn't it? People getting slammed. And let's go back to the celebrities born on this date, 15th of April. Now, again, I've only pulled up a couple of examples. I haven't been looking what's going on with the other people. Maisie Williams, for example. I suppose I could give her a quick Google, and Seth Rogen, what's going on with them. But I do know that the lovely and most beautiful Claudia Cardinale, don't know how you pronounce her name, but I know her chart well. And I know that she passed away on the 25th of, the 23rd of September 2025, because basically she's one of my beautiful examples of a Taurus rising, because she's got that Venus right on her Taurus ascendant conjunct Uranus. And she's also got Mars in Taurus. She's got Mercury in Taurus. So this lady, despite being an Aries, she's actually a mega Taurus archetypal lady. And so we'll just pull up some images of what she looks like just out of interest. She is a quintessential Taurus. She is a beauty star from way back when, and exhibits beauty from a Taurus perspective with that Venus rising, Uranus conjunct her Venus as well. She's one of those people that I like to reference there with all that Taurus energy going on. Anyway, she passed away just the other day, so that was standing out to me. And of course, her sun in the 12th house of endings and finality, right? So that's enough of those examples, unless we have a little look at what Seth Rogen is doing in the news. Let's see. Translate to English because everything's in Japanese. Is that the right spelling? Rogen. What's going on in the news? Have we got anything? Oh, let's see there. Seth Rogen repeatedly filmed a coffee exploding on him, hot, 1 month ago. Anyway, I'm not going to pull up his birth chart, but you can do a little bit of investigation with this Scorpio, Mars, and Mercury, inspiring us all to dig deep into research. So let's go back again to our chart, and then we're going to crack on with the horoscopes here. So fascinating, am I right? Fascinating, fascinating, this Chiron connection. And so with these horoscopes, with this moment, with this Aries full moon, I want your homework, your little challenge today is to imagine to yourself, what is painful, what has been really uncomfortable, and where have you been healing by sharing courageously and honestly with others, right? This to me is really the message based on what I have been observing over the last 24 hours, the last couple of days, the whole of my astrology career. What have you been honest about? What can you be honest about? What have you been revealing in May? What have you been healing and revealing? Okay, let's do a sign by sign. And I will switch the chart around so that you can follow with me and see what's what, because you know what? We've got time. Let's just do it. This is YouTube. It's not blooming Instagram. So we can just go for it, right? So for the Aries and Aries rising people, the full moon is coming to fruition in your house of ego and identity, while Mars, your ruler, and Mercury are in Scorpio and your house of secret developments, of negotiations, of collaborations and mergers, and of shared finances, and of shared resources, and of shared values. This could present a time when you are going deep with a digger, when you're chipping away at your relationships and your commitments and your long-term goals and trying to predict and move forward in relationship with others. Relationships are super prominent now. It is Libra season, and you are invited to reveal something about your independent nature and how you go it alone and how that's comfortable or where that's downright painful, because we all know that Aries are blessed with that independence of spirit, that courage to be able to go it alone. And on the one hand, that could be super, super comfortable. You could be really okay about that. And on the other hand, it could be like, damn, I just don't know if I'm really, I don't know if I like that sensation. Oh, side note as well, also pay attention to the position of Jupiter squaring the Eris Chiron conjunction. I mean, there's an extra pain point being magnified, Jupiter being the great expander, Jupiter being the planet that just makes everything so much bigger than it needs to be. And Venus is in a little sextile there to Jupiter. And we've also got the continuing formation configuration between Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. I know, it is just insane. And how did I forget this one? Mercury square bloody Pluto. Mercury has just moved into Scorpio, and boom, it's square Pluto. Conversations could be not only deep, not only probing, confronting, just really, really, really there could be a lot being thought about, processed. It might be hidden, it might be confidential, or you might be opening up to people and really you might be sharing, or you might be keeping it low key. But Pluto, Mercury, I mean, yeah, let's just say there could be some really important conversations going on that are very volatile, potentially. And you can look back to what happened when Mars was square Pluto too, just a few days ago. So, full moon in Aries for the Aries, your identity, where that's cool, where that is completely uncomfortable, where you're flying the red flag solo, and whether that is whether that's okay with you, whether you're feeling courageous as a solopreneur, as a independent artist, as a fiery force going into the flaming hot building as a firefighter on his ladder, or where you're thinking, gosh, I really need a partner in this and I haven't got one. And that is really, really painful. But maybe if I open up to others with honesty, we can both heal together. So Taurus rising, just like the lady that we just saw. What's her name again? Claudia. Just like Claudia, this is in your house of endings and surrender. Now, it doesn't just mean everyone that's a Taurus rising is going to be, passing away and facing death, but there may be a mini death. There may be a surrendering of ego. There may be a need to be honest, courageous, and brave about what's going on behind the scenes, what's transpiring in private, what is going on for you, Taurus rising. There might be some healing, some major healing underway that is really confronting right now. And relationships could have everything to do with it, given these two planets, Mars and Mercury, are in your house of partners. And that could be platonic partners, business partners, a therapist, a coach, or it could be your spouse, your best friend, your boyfriend. Just this idea that there is a reciprocal learnings going on. And then Jupiter in your third house, urging you to open up, but just be really mindful around who it is that you're opening up to, what it is that you're saying, and how your message is being construed, sharing with the right people to heal and transcend this very, very baffling situation that you've got going on in private. Maybe there are sacrifices you've made, sacrifices you're making pulling back into solitude. Aries is the sign of independence, and therefore there is this resonance with Aries as a zodiac sign about being solo, about being on one's own, whereas Libra is all about collaboration and partnership. But with the solitary 12th house lit up by this full moon, it could be really apparent that in some areas you're having to go it alone, and that could be really painful, really uncomfortable, having to go it alone. And then we've got Gemini. Gemini risings. This is happening in your 11th house of community, friendships, networks. What is uncomfortable for you right now, Gemini? What have you been working on for a long time? You know, going back in the dates that I mentioned, what about your social scene, your social circle is triggering you, making you feel uncomfortable, calls for healing, maybe a part of a healing circle, maybe interacting with a friend, even a stranger could be a remedy to heal and soothe yourself. You've got here Mars and Mercury in your 6th house of service, wellness, daily ritual and undertakings. And so there may be a job that you have to do, or your general sense of purpose and well-being that's playing into this. So you've got your community sector, but also your sector of job, employment, or wellness and well-being. And of course, for Gemini, Mercury is your ruling planet. So that's quite important that it's in this sector of servitude and routines and the mundane, and it's squaring Pluto, which might be sending you off on an adventure. You know, Pluto's saying, transform your understanding of global markets and, you know, the way that you think and these new avenues opening up for you. But then Mercury needing to kind of consider the more building blocks or the kind of the more day-to-day grind. Then we've got Cancer and Cancer risings. This full moon is lighting up your 10th house of prominence, prestige, fame, and notoriety. So you could be focusing on your career, but also where you're going alone in your career, or where you feel uncomfortable being visible, where you feel uncomfortable putting your face out there, or where you're healing by putting your face out there, where it's actually a really soothing remedy. And I guess what I'm not really amplifying here is this nuance between the Chiron Eris conjunction, because this is not just about healing. This is where discord and chaos are rife as well, right? So as well with the Geminis for the community sector, where do you feel destabilized because your network of friends is so chaotic or unpredictable? Or, I mean, unpredictable is kind of a Uranian word, but, you know, strife, trouble and strife, you know. And then at the same time, Cancer rising, you've got this Mars Mercury duo in your creative 5th house. So the desire to be creative, the desire to be playful, to perform, to put joy out there, to have children or procreate, or, you know, do a project. And there being that correspondence between wanting to show up, or being nudged and elevated to show up, but then also having to consider, or leading back to one's talents, one's children, one's willingness to perform. Interesting times. And of course, I'm speaking about this collective, you know, genocide, this war that's going on, and hopefully YouTube will not tag my words and shadow ban me, but you know, it's all to do with that as well, right, gang? We all know what's going on. So the 8th of not the 8th. So the Leo rising. Sorry, I got really in my head a second then. Leo risings. For you, the full moon in Aries is lighting up your 9th house, and Mars and Mercury are lighting up your 4th house of home. So this is lighting up this area for revelations, but it's not in isolation. Think back to what was going on in May. What were you, you know, what were you anticipating or dealing with in May? Travel related, long distance travel. And also the year before, 2024, April, what was on your map? What spiritual voyage was opening up for you? What cultural experiences, what understanding, what philosophies or life path was just opening up like a flower inviting you in? And then conversely, what is going on at home now around your base, around your private life, around your innermost sanctum, your crypt, your literal home, and or even perhaps your homeland. So having the spirit of adventure move you into a very chaotic world, into a very painful experience around religion or beliefs or those kinds of experiences. And for Leo risings, Jupiter's in your 12th house of rest, closure, and catharsis and solitude and undoing. So it's really a year for the Leo risings to take a pause, take a beat, and then that Mercury in your 4th house squaring Pluto in your relationship house. So don't be surprised if there are some antagonistic conversations underway right after that full moon, or quite frankly, in the run up to it. Virgo risings, the full moon is lighting up your intimate sector of joint finances, shared commitments, investments, mergers, and, reciprocity. And so for the Virgo risings, think about what you've been sharing and what resources you've been beholden to basically evaluate and divvy up between yourself and others. This is not just about partnerships. This is what is between you and others, energetically, financially, romantically, perhaps. But also, it's really about how you feel about moving forward with somebody on the same page, perhaps. And there being major social considerations, there perhaps being health considerations, but there being a super communicative premise here at full moon, so that you're perhaps having to talk about things, you're perhaps having to discuss things, right? Yeah, that's the Virgo risings. The Libra risings, this full moon is happening in your relationship sector. And so you could be bringing to fruition a major awareness around the uncomfortable nature of unions, of partnerships, relationships, be they platonic, be they romantic, be they a best friend, a significant other, even your kid, a family member. It doesn't matter who it is. There may be something where you're just like, God, that's chaotic. This is so messy. This is so chaotic and painful and uncomfortable dealing with this one particular relationship, or perhaps key people in your world. And Venus is currently tracing its way through your 12th house. That's your ruling planet. So you may also be having to practice patience, let go through a bit of a transformative process while Jupiter is in your 10th house of prestige, fame, career. And so your resources, it really comes back to, again, how you are the one that's kind of pushing things forward. So you've got the spirited nature of a partnership, but also it falling back on you to perhaps take the action or make, the initiative, do the initiative. Scorpio rising. So for you, the full moon is coming to fruition in your 6th house of everyday work, health, and wellness, physical constitution, and looking after the everyday parts of your body, your employment, and your health and your well-being, and all those kinds of things that allow you to keep yourself ticking along nicely. And Mars and Mercury are in your 1st house of self. So again, your identity, yourself, and the way you take care of yourself. And so be careful of little, not accidents, but like things that can go, um, you know, wounds, right? Chiron is about not accidents, but Chiron is about literal painful arrows prodding you in, prodding Chiron. But still, this Eris Chiron conjunction in your sixth house could lead to dangerous situations in the workplace. If you happen to work, if you're a Scorpio that happens to work in a space which could get hairy or scary or dangerous or, so on, just be extra mindful that you don't cut yourself with a knife or that you aren't playing with fire. Okay, Scorpio rising. And then we've got Sag rising. What is uncomfortable about your situation, Sagittarius? Could it be that your creativity and your ability to have a baby or a kid, or your ability to be romantic, sexual, fertile, and virile, to perform, to enjoy, to show up? How is your happiness being affected this year? And even as far back as that April 2024, perhaps the same issue's been going on for a long, long, long ass time. This is about what is painful and uncomfortable down to your creative premise, your self-expression. There may be for the Sagittarius risings, something uncomfortable that must be expressed, something that must be shared, named. Honesty, courage can get you there. And again, choosing who you share with really, really mindfully, because you've got your ruling planet Jupiter in your eighth house of confidentiality, and Mars and Mercury also in this sector of, unconscious and transformation and closure, and that square to Pluto happening between Mercury and, the planet Hades. Or the god Hades in your third house of connection, communication. So be mindful around who you're talking to, what you're talking about, what is coming out of your mouth, and the blunt nature in which you're sharing information and expressing yourself and expressing your love. This could also be people who have fallen in love and who are like tooting saying the good word, spreading the good word, or it can be people who have, fallen out of love or had a challenging experience with making a baby. So next up is Capricorn risings. For you, this is happening, this full moon is happening in your house of home, homeland, homemaking, nurturing, caretaking. And so what is going on around your ability to settle and feel secure, that's uncomfortable, but that must be shared? Your property, what is going on in your home? Do you allow people into your home? Are you the kind of Capricorn that lets people cross the threshold? I've been saying this about Capricorns for ages because I know a Capricorn who will often have people to come and stay at her house. And she has a red kitchen. It's so classically red for the fourth house. And she has Mars in Aries. And she loves inviting people to her house, but then she wants them out after 24 hours. So that could be a Chiron Eris premise, that it's too chaotic, right? Discord. Eris, the planet, the dwarf planet of discord, discordia, chaos and just battles. When does your house become a battleground, Capricorn? Is it a fight to get to the breakfast table and get the best muffin? Or are you unable to nurture yourself fully because there is so much tension and arguments? And does that need to be healed? Does it need to be shared with your community? Because Mars and Mercury are there in your house of friends, networks, social connections, and group work. Next up, we have Aquarius risings. And this full moon in Aries, let's just keep it neat. Let's keep the moon in its sign there, right back to the beginning again. This full moon in Aries is lighting up close connections, communication skills and rapport, how you go about interacting and engaging, be it on social media, be it with the neighborhood shopkeep, be it with your siblings, be it with your sibling type characters, be they old school friends, work colleagues, people that you engage with and chit chat to or share memes over the airwaves and so on. How are your communications doing, Aquarius? Like, what is it you're learning about the way you express yourself in that Aries way, which could be really headstrong? And how is it making you appear in public? Mercury, your planet of passion, is showing up right at the top of your chart and it's getting squared or it's coming into a square with Pluto there in your sign. Mars is already there. Don't know about you, but that makes a lot of sense for the Aquarius is that I'm keeping my eye on. So that supercharged Mars, Mercury there at the top of the tree, the top of the house, the top of the chart, top of the morning to you. So yeah, just how are you coming across, Aquarius? How are you speaking up, right? Then finally, last but not least, it's Pisces, Pisces risings, my faves, one of my faves. You're all my faves. This full moon is coming to fruition in your money sector. Could you be doing some healing around your money story? And is it chaotic? Does that sound about right? Is your job and the way that you earn money unmanageable? Do you have somebody in your life that is making money making difficult or crazy? I don't know. Look, it's about your earned income, your assets, your possessions, your belongings, and how you manage your finances. Pisces, Pisces rising. So there could be something that's downright uncomfortable. There could be something really, really painful that's coming to light, that's revelatory, but also that you're exploring your options on because you've got Mercury and Mars over here in the ninth house of wisdom. So this is your chance to take a leap of faith. And as with all of the signs here, with all the message, honesty, courage, right? Being brave, sharing it, feeling it to heal it, but also sharing it to heal it, sharing with others what's really going on. And so, with that, I will conclude. Even though once I get going, sometimes I just don't want to stop talking, talking, talking. Anyway, my course, my new Astrology Essentials course, is so close to being ready. I have opened the registration. The link is below. I'm so excited. Clearly, I am an obsessive person when it comes to the world of astrology. I love it. It's what I live for. It really is. And I'm hoping I can bring to you the wisdom and the respect that this subject deserves, the reverence that it needs, and yeah, register along. Happy full moon in Aries. This really is one to be upfront, propelling forward with your message, courage and bravery. And as you know, and I'll just say that we've got the let me just tell you those dates again. Chiron first met Eris on the 27th of May 2025. They're meeting again on the 9th of October, this time retrograde, and then they will meet again 19th of March 2026, so next year. So let's do a check-in then and see what's going on. See what's going on in those areas, the horoscopes. Questions, comments, just go for it, feel free. And yeah, I'm so, so happy to be able to do this work with you and share and so on. So big hugs from me on the Aries full moon.